Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jeremy Chang, and I'm a biological sciences major, originally from Kenwood House.
Hello, everyone. My name is Morgan Redmond, and I'm a public policy student who originally lived in Thompson House. Today, we have the great privilege of welcoming you to the college's second ever Class Day. Class Day is a celebration for students, by students, and today we gather to celebrate the class of 2018 graduates. As members of the Maroon Key Society, the college's honorary society, we are honored to coordinate and create this ceremony, which encompasses the great breadth of the class of 2018's accolades and contributions to the university community.
We will learn today about the outstanding accomplishments of our peers and faculty, listen to student experiences, treat our ears to the best musical talent that our student body has to offer, and most importantly, hear from our honored Class Day speaker, Ms. Valerie Jarrett. There is one note I feel obligated to mention as to not risk appearing blithe. There are many of you who leave this university disillusioned. UChicago is a rigorous school. But when compounded with personal crises, one of which affected me as well, the college can appear to be an unforgiving environment. Even in the worst of times, however, I never forgot what a special opportunity it was to be here, and I am so grateful that I was able to discover a community that I genuinely cherish. Let us take this moment to celebrate our common bond as students of the University of Chicago before we graduate tomorrow and head off to new, exciting directions.
Taking the roles with the punches, I'm grateful to the university for giving me lifelong friends, allowing me to find my purpose in advocacy, and always pushing me to dig deeper and ask questions. This experience has been the greatest of transformations, not only for myself, but also for many of my classmates, and I invite you now to join us in celebration of our journey and who we become at the end of our time here in the college. Thank you, and enjoy the celebration.
Thank you to everyone for being with us today. My name is Claire Duty, and I'm a fourth-year member of the Maroon Key Society, majoring in geophysical sciences and East Asian languages and civilizations.
And my name is Stacy Ryman, and I'm also a fourth-year member of the Maroon Key Society, majoring in law, letters, and society, and minoring in philosophy. Together, Claire and I know very little about what the other has learned in their majors.
Today, we will be hearing from 3 members of our graduating class on their experiences at UChicago and what their time here has meant for them. Our first speaker is Andrea Popova, a political sciences major and an almost biology minor from Houston, Texas. Andrea has been involved in a wide variety of activities across campus. She's a part of off-campus improv, so get ready to laugh, the Major Activities Board, where we are still thanking for bringing T-Pain to Summer Breeze our first year, and Kappa Alpha Theta sorority. She has also participated in TEDx UChicago, MODA, and co-choreographed Phoenix's performance at the Sasa Show. Her friends know her for loving bubble tea and being uniquely thoughtful, and the latter will truly come across in her words to us today. Please welcome Andrea.
Thanks, Claire. Hi, everyone. So you know that moment when you're at a big stadium concert and you're in the very back, in your nosebleed seats, and you're thinking, Celine Dion probably doesn't even know I exist. But then Celine Dion points to your section in the audience and says, "You in the back, I see you. This show is for you." Well, graduating seniors, today is our day. But to all of you in the back, to all of our parents, mentors, teachers, coaches, friends, and those who couldn't be here with us today, I see you. And I want to take this moment to honor you. You sacrificed a lot for us to be in these seats. I know, because I've seen it in my own parents. Boris and Ellie grew up in Bulgaria. They were my age when my dad applied for an economics program in the United States. There were no Glassdoor reviews or LinkedIn profiles to scope out. but the food on the shelves at every grocery store was dwindling. They had to wait in line for hours just to get baby formula for my big sister, Sophia. With a scholarship that made it possible, my parents left their homes in Bulgaria and crossed an ocean they'd never seen to move to cities they'd never even heard of. All they had in their hands was $100 and my sister. My mom went to law school, eventually practicing immigration law. My dad got his MBA, pursued accounting, and eventually established his own CPA practice. It is difficult for me to even fathom the challenges they had to overcome, seeing as English is my first language and I could barely get through core bio. A few years ago, I asked them for the first time, "Do you love what you do? Is this your passion?" They looked at me for a moment with their heads slightly tilted. "I never thought about this," my dad said. "It was never a concern for me to do what I like." Boris and Nellie have always been frugal. My mom would probably argue over a penny if she had the time. But whenever it came to education, no book, school, or program was ever too much. Because in a time when my parents had every major obstacle in their way, they always saw education as the key to success. My parents urged me to go to the University of Chicago because an institution like this is undeniably a mecca for success and opportunities. What some of our ancestors may not have even dreamed of, we now have well within our grasp, just by the letterhead on our transcripts and the maroon on our backs. Mom and Dad, you didn't have the luxury of following your dreams or your passions, but because of your sacrifice, and because of the sacrifices of all of you supporting us here today, now we do. And we will make the most of this degree, this honor. We will cherish it and use it to its fullest potential, because not everybody gets to sit in these seats. What I will say to you all is this: for whoever fought for us to be here today, for whoever drove us to soccer practice, for whoever made sure we had food on the table, for whoever bought us our first graphing calculators, for whoever taught us to read, to ride a bike, to spell our names, for whoever that is to you, we have this opportunity to make it worth it. The sky is the limit, and thank you to everyone who has handed us a ladder and gotten us that much closer to it. Thank you.
I wish we could sit with that a little bit longer. But our second speaker is Mark Angus Meyer, a Germanic language major and visual arts minor, and lived in Keller House during his time at UChicago. Mark co-founded UChicago's German Club and was also a member of UChicago's Sailing Club. Mark has a uniquely innovative nature to him and has developed several business ventures outside the classroom as well. As a member of his graduating class, I'm proud to welcome Mark to the stage today. Please welcome Mark.
Today, I would like to speak with you about nothing. More specifically, nothingness. And when I say nothingness, I mean an empty void, negative space, the air among us here in this moment. Before I entered this space, I tried to imagine the feeling of living among these striking buildings. It was a feeling that I couldn't quite place, but I knew somehow it would be magnificent. In my first studio class in the visual arts, my instructor gathered us around a blank canvas. She painted a red square in the center, and we discussed that square's features, but no one remarked on the untouched margins. Our instructor anticipated this, and that's when she painted an extension off the lower right-hand corner of that square and into the margin. All of a sudden, we started talking about all the areas left untouched and how the extension gave substance to the void. That's when I started to see things differently. I started to engage with negative spaces across disciplines. I even wrote my German thesis on air. To this point, a good friend of mine remarked, "So your 16 years of education culminates into nothingness." And I take great pride in that fact, because there's substance in nothingness, and all of you helped me understand that. We shared this space together for the last years, Though crowded, each and every one of you have made your space here. Some of you created your space in an abstract place, be it your house culture, a concentration in your field, or even a group of peers in a student organization. Others maybe made it in a physical place, be it a niche in the RAG, the turf of the Ratner athletic fields, or a molecular engineering lab. Among this crowd, each and every one of you founded that space here, and you made it your own. The buildings that surround us are gorgeous, but they ended up not meaningfully contributing to the feeling, the vibe of this campus. It was all of you. We gave substance to the negative spaces here through the literal vibrations of our voices that dispersed as ideas through the halls, classrooms, auditoriums, and even into the pores of the stones surrounding us. At the end of the day, these structures are just that, structures. It's the presence of students that turn any building into a space for education, but the presence of each and every one of you that has made this space magnificent. In closing, let us today and tomorrow enjoy the negative spaces around us that we have collectively enriched, because these spaces stand as our creation. As the parents and grandparents among us might attest, when we return, the buildings here, they will more or less be the same, but the feeling in the air will change. As we graduate from this institution, we will each be dispersing with a little bit of this Chicago air in our lungs, bringing it with us near and far. The future, too, is a negative space. It's full of substance, yet difficult to visualize. And if you ask me, I'm positively optimistic about the future because we will be there giving substance to the negative spaces, researching the unanswered questions, filling empty apartments with furniture, building families. Exactly because I know you will be there with me, I know the future will be magnificent. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Our final speaker, Priscilla DeBoni, is an English language and literature major on the pre-med track, which means she took Orgo while also writing impressive essays. Priscilla is a member of Hoover House in Max Palevsky East Residential Commons and has been involved in the Afro-Caribbean Students Association, Questbridge Scholars Network, and the Southside Scribblers. Priscilla has been an active member in changing the world around her and wants to address in her remarks how our graduating class can do just that. Please welcome Priscilla.
A famous philosopher and composer once said, "Do you love me?" I tell her, "Only partly. I only love my bed and my mama, I'm sorry." For many of us, however, my bed can be replaced by the reg. Unintentionally, we have given so much of ourselves in exchange for our success at this institution, and leaving it may feel as if we are leaving behind a part of us as well. That pang in your heart, the tears, they are real. But so are the sweet memories. Of feigning heart failure because your house was that close to winning SCAV. Of meeting someone that turned butterflies, caterpillars to butterflies in your stomach. For some of us, we didn't actually meet them, but we posted about them on UChicago Crushes, or even less boldly, gawked over them in Harper Memorial Library or the Regenstein Library, and that counts too. Of having an impromptu picnic in the quad with your friends because it is a sunny 57 degrees in May and beggars cannot be choosers. It is critical to remember those memories too. It's easy to look back on your college experience and only take away the long hours in the reg, the tears you cried after your first organic chemistry exam, or the pain you felt when all the chicken and waffles were gone at fourth meal. But it's just as important to remember that what makes UChicago unique are the experiences, relationships, and lessons that we've had and learned, those that cannot be replicated anywhere else. How will you use what you've learned exclusively at this university to change your world? UChicago has equipped us with knowledge, degrees, and skills that will help us be monetarily successful. But is success only limited to that? Getting a job at JP Morgan is successful. But why not add on successfully being able to maneuver difficult conversations with respect and regard? Getting into medical school is a feat, but so is using your privilege in whatever form it manifests itself to speak up for the voices that are silenced. One day, some of us may get our articles published in the New York Times, but I hope that you will also be a force fighting for the equality of all gender identities, races, backgrounds, economic statuses, and sexual orientations. The world is so much bigger than the people and the conversations that are within your comfort zone. And in a world, a society, a campus that is fixated on freedom of speech and expression, we have to ask ourselves, what are we saying? And what are we doing with what we've learned? Knowledge is not intelligence, and as our motto implies, you have to grow in knowledge, but it takes an intelligent person to apply it to enrich life. Not only yours, but the lives around you as well. You can quote philosophers like Rousseau, Marx, and Fanon by heart, but if you can't use your heart in how you maneuver the world, then your quotes and degrees and your credentials mean nothing. Some may think they've lived an isolated life here, that everything they've become is solely by their own accord. But where would you be without that classmate who would sit with you in the reg week after week going over your coding? That professor who wrote you an amazing recommendation letter. The board members of various student organizations who took the time and energy to create events that were not only a source of stress relief, happiness, but also a source of good food. You can't leave a school like this to go on and live a self-centered life, forgetting that so much of who you are is because of others. I implore you to use and apply your knowledge, aka be intelligent, which comes easy for all of us. So let me push you a bit further. Don't just go out there. Look and hear as well, and find a way to change your world. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Priscilla. Hello, everybody. My name is Ade Ayola, and I studied biochemistry. I was a high jumper and a thrower on the track and field team.
Hi, guys. My name is John Schultz. I studied political science, and I was a pole vaulter on the track team. Before I begin, I want to recognize that today is a special day. It's not just class day. It also happens to be my dad's birthday, and I wanted to take advantage of this opportunity to say, happy birthday, Dad. You may be 59, but you look just as good as ever. Ade and I are pleased to represent UChicago Athletics, and we are excited to introduce UChicago's highest athletic honors to 3 of our teammates. But first, we would like to use this moment to recognize all of our fellow student athletes.
For 4 straight years, we have trained, studied, competed with, and built lifelong friendships with the 84 student athletes graduating with us this weekend. Collectively, we've competed and trained for over 150,000 hours over our 4 years here. So when I say we built friendships, I really mean it. In addition to being great friends, our teammates have thrived at this university.
We have dominated athletically, receiving 52 All-American honors, 4 academic All-American awards, and even a national championship. It is also important to note that we have destroyed in the countless intramurals in which we participated. Academically, we have flourished as musicians, artists, and leaders in student organizations on this campus. As our teammates go out into the world, they will be making an impact in very diverse fields, ranging from studying apes in the Congo to filming movies in Hollywood. While many of our teammates are getting their PhDs, MDs, JDs, one of our number will be continuing their dream and playing professional soccer in Sweden.
We will always remember fondly waking up to 7 a.m. practices, the lovely walks in sub-0 degree weather to Ratner Athletics Center, and the rejuvenating plunges into the Ratner pool. We will cherish teaching our classmates that we do, in fact, have a football team, and they're actually pretty good. And we've come really far from the epic rock, paper, scissors games of student athletic orientation first year. Our only regret is that we graduated too soon to enjoy practices in Henry Crown Fieldhouse with actual windows and natural light.
As track athletes ourselves, we are proud to introduce the athletic awards presented today. The Amos Alonzo Stagg Award and the Gertrude Dudley Award honor fourth-year athletes who have exceeded on the playing field and in the classroom. They consider strong all-around athletic rewards, scholarship, and character. Please join us in congratulating the student athletes of the entire class of 2018 and in welcoming Coach Amy Reifert, Coach Chris Hall, and Coach JT to present these awards to their athletes.
Mia Calamari departs the University of Chicago with an impressive legacy on the soccer field. A dynamic, athletic, and talented attacking midfielder, she led our team to back-to-back Final Four appearances and the 2017 NCAA National Championship game for just the second time in our school history. The 2017 season was one of our most dominant ever. Squad finished 22-2 while setting program records for wins, shutouts, goals against average, goals scored. You get the idea. A senior captain, Mia leaves her mark in the record books. She holds the top spot for career and season assists as well as games played. She's the third leading all-time scorer with 90 career points. Mia's accomplishments, both nationally and in the conference, are remarkable. A 4-time All-UAA selection, 3 times All-Region, and one of 3 seniors in the entire country to be honored as an All-American 3 times in a row. Calamari was also picked as the D3.com Soccer Midfielder of the Year. Off the field, Mia's accomplishments on the academic level are equally impressive. She was a COSIDA Academic All-District recipient, a 2-time Scholar All-American, as well as earning a spot on the UAA All-Academic Team 3 times in a row. It is my honor to present Mia Calamari with the Dudley Medal. There you go.
Good afternoon. I'm Chris Hall. I'm the head track and cross-country coach. And today it's my honor to be able to acknowledge Kaya Kurtenbach for all of her athletic accomplishments. Kaya has distinguished herself in the sports of swimming, track and field, and cross-country as a Maroon. She first came to Chicago as a recruited member of our swim team and had a great deal of initial success in that sport, qualifying to the NCAA championships as a first year in the 200 backstroke and earning honorable mention All-America. Following her swim season, Kaya joined us for track and eventually discovered she wanted to focus on running full-time in college. On the track, Kaya established herself as one of the top runners in the nation with 5 career All-America awards. She holds the indoor school record in the 3,000-meter run, and she is the UAA championship meet record holder in the 10,000-meter run. She won a total of 5 UAA championships individually and was named All-UAA on 9 occasions. I feel her crowning accomplishment, though, came in cross-country in 2017, where she won the individual national championship. In doing so, she became only the 2nd Maroon to win a national title in cross-country. Kaya remains the only cross-country runner in school history to be named All-American on 3 occasions. In the 2017 season alone, she was named UAA Athlete of the Year, Midwest Regional Athlete of the Year, and finally recognized by the NCAA as the National Athlete of the Year. In the academic realm, Kaya is graduating with a degree in molecular engineering. She was named to the UAA All-Academic Team 9 times, along with COSIDA Academic All-America Team twice, and the Division III Cross Country Scholar Athlete of the Year in 2017, and is the University of Chicago's nominee for the NCAA Woman of the Year. I'm proud to congratulate Kaya and to introduce her as a Dudley winner.
It's a tough one to follow, Nick. Sorry. My name is JT. I'm the head men's and women's tennis coach here at the University of Chicago. I'm here to award Nick Chua, a senior captain, with his Amos Alonzo Stagg Medal. The award is named after a legendary football coach, Amos Alonzo Stagg, since 1947, and is presented to the senior male athlete with the best all-around record for athletics, scholarship, and character. Nick quickly established himself as a standout player and leader on the tennis court. He competed at a national level throughout his 4 years, becoming the first Maroon in school history to earn All-American status 5 times. In 2017, he was the first UChicago man to advance to the national semifinals, and he qualified for the NCAA championships in singles 4 times in a row. Before Nick arrived, it wasn't this way, so I thank Nick right now for making me look like a good coach. So he proved himself as an integral part to our powerhouse team that qualified for NCAA Nationals 4 straight years and was consistently ranked in the top 10 and finished this year ranked number 3 in the country. Nick helped his team reach the Final Four in 2015, 16, and 18. As he began his career at UChicago, he was named UAA Rookie of the Year and became the first Maroon to earn the title of ITA National Small College Singles Champion. He won a combined 3 ITA Regional Championships as a singles player and with doubles partner David Liu. In 2018, Nick led our team to our first ever UAA Conference Championship, defeating defending national champion Emory University by a 7-2 score. And he was also picked first team All-UA twice in his career. He's a senior captain, and as well, academic accomplishments will also include UA All-Academic Team 3 times, as well as the UAA President's Scholar Council team. Nick Chua.
Thank you. That was truly incredible to hear about those amazing athletic accomplishments. My name is Jamie Koenig, and I am a 3rd year in the college majoring in economics. It is my great pleasure to introduce Shiba Vidula, a graduating 4th year student with a degree in sociology. Over the past year, I have worked with her as resident assistants in GGRC, and her passion for music was likely the first thing I learned about her. She fell in love with music when she was just 3 years old and has been fortunate enough to pursue it on national and global levels. After becoming a semi-finalist on American Idol, Shiba has had opportunities to open for Grammy-nominated acts Train and Lindsey Stirling, and also performed for Barack Obama and the Chicago Bulls. Her first major headlining festival was the Taste of Chicago this past summer. Currently, Shiba is pursuing her original music and just released a 4-song EP titled Around Me. Her sound, influenced by Celine Dion, Rihanna, and Ariana Grande, is a unique twist of pop, soul, and R&B infused with a South Asian flair. Upon graduating from UChicago, she plans to pursue music full-time. Thank you, and please welcome Shiba to the stage.
Hi everyone, my name is Shiba, and this song is called Rise Up. You're broken down and tired of living life
on a merry-go-round, and you can find the fighter, but I see it in you, so we gon' walk it out and move mountains. We gon' walk it out and move mountains. And I'll rise up, rise like the day, and I'll rise up higher than they. I'll rise up and I'll do it 1,000 times again. Thank you.
Wow, okay. My name is Katie Iacovelli. I'm a history and gender and sexuality studies major from Charlotte, North Carolina, and I am in Thompson House.
And my name is Madison Olmstead. I'm a biological sciences major from Sacramento, California. I was originally in Midway House, but for the past 2 years, I've been a resident assistant of Boyer House, which makes it especially exciting to introduce our next speaker. John W. Boyer has served the University of Chicago as Dean of the College for 26 years and was appointed to an unprecedented 6th term last year. Dean Boyer has been dedicated to increasing opportunities for students in many areas of college life, from expanding the core curriculum to expanding residential life.
Dean Boyer also wears the hat of a historian. Having received his PhD from the University of Chicago, he is a specialist in the history of the Habsburg Empire, about which he has written 3 books. His pride for UChicago continues to show through, as he published the 700-page volume, The University of Chicago, A History, in 2015. When he isn't determining the future of the college or writing, he can be found teaching in the European civilization sequence or riding his bike around Hyde Park. Please welcome to the podium, Dean John Boyer, the Martin A. Ryerson Distinguished Service Professor of History, who will now present Llewellyn John and Harriet Manchester Quantrell Awards for Excellence in Undergraduate Teaching.
Thank you very much. 80 years ago, the first teaching awards in the history of the University of Chicago were presented. In May 1937, Ernest Quantrell, who was a member of the Board of Trustees since 1929, wrote to President Robert Hutchins offering an endowed fund of $75,000 to provide for several teaching awards. For Quantrell, quote, "The purpose of the award is to interest teachers in training not only scholars and research workers, but also young men and women for intelligent and public-spirited participation and leadership in business, civic, and professional life. I hope," Quantrell continued, "the award will result in constantly improving our faculty who teach undergraduates," unquote. The awards were to be based on nominations by our students of faculty members who had done a particularly effective and inspiring job in collegiate education at Chicago. Ernest Quantrell was an alumnus of the university, having entered the college as a freshman in 1901, where he encountered, as he later put it, quote, "one of the greatest faculties in the history of American education," unquote. While at Chicago, he was president of the Reynolds Club, a member of the Owl and Serpent, a letter holder on the track team, and the treasurer of his class. He left the university in 1905 without completing his degree and gained employment in the bond department of a Chicago bank. This proved to be a fruitful and prosperous career for him, and it led to him his founding his own investment company in New York City in 1928. From 1938 to 1952, the awards were given anonymously, but in the latter year, Ernest Quantrell agreed to the public disclosure of his name as the patron of our awards. And although Quantrell created the teaching awards, they bear the name of his father and his mother. Hence, since 1954, their official title has been the Llewellyn John and Harriet Manchester Quantrell Awards for Excellence in Undergraduate Teaching. Until his death in 1962, at the age of 81, Ernest Quantrell followed the university's Quantrell Awards ceremonies with considerable delight and pride. The ability of the university and our students, with recurring and reassuring regularity, to be able to generate still more truly worthy candidates for his prizes seemed to please him greatly. And we know now, as the history of the Hutchins era at the University of Chicago from 1929 to 1951 has unfolded, and as historians have had the chance to scrutinize the real record, we know, apart from the myths associated with Hutchins, how important these prizes were for Chicago. For Quantrell was one of those alumni, and there were many in the later 1930s who were very skeptical of Robert Hutchins' educational innovations that seemed to posit academic learning as the exclusive goal of the college, to the detriment of other skills and experiences that would also be valuable to young men and young women in the course of their adult lives. In contrast, Quantrell believed that the university needed to train not only brilliant scholars, but also effective civic and professional leaders and committed and enlightened citizens. But Ernest Quantrell was also an alumni leader who was enlightened enough to take a chance on new ideas and who understood that universities must be dynamic instruments of change. He believed strongly that it was possible for the university to be both intensely academic and supportive of the lives of our students in and beyond the classroom, and that it should be profoundly devoted to changing and improving the conditions of our nation. Hence the hybridic quality of the commendation from Quantrell to Hutchins that I just read to you. He wanted to honor teachers who were great scholars and who produced great students, but he also wanted to honor teachers who in their persons would offer, to use a rather old-fashioned word, noble ideals and noble role models, and who would inspire our students to be more enlightened and more effective leaders of their communities and of our nation. The distinctive strength of our intellectual strength of our students, but also their strong and always impressive professional success over the last half-century are perhaps the best and most satisfying signs that both of Ernest Quantrell's hopes, both of his hopes, have been indeed fulfilled. Since 1938, more than 300 Chicago faculty members have received Quantrell Awards, and the awards have become, and they continue to be, one of the highest honors that the University of Chicago can bestow on any member of our faculty. One of my distinguished predecessors as dean, Alan Simpson, has aptly said of our prizes that, quote, during a chapter in the history of undergraduate education in the United States, which has been disfigured by the flight from teaching of the research professor, the resource professor, and the roving professor, the Quantrell Awards have recalled to us a better sense of proportion by combining the soft reproach with the solid reward. Others have reminded us that a profession which surrenders its chance to fire impressionable minds is courting its own sterility, but few have discovered such a tangible way of making that point, end quote. On behalf of the University of Chicago, I'm now pleased to present the winners of the 2018 Llewellyn John and Harriet Manchester Quantrell Awards for excellence in undergraduate teaching.
Young Ki Kim, Lewis Block Distinguished Service Professor, Department of Physics, Enrico Fermi Institute, and the College, Chair, Department of Physics, will present the first Quantrell Award.
In the dual role of undergraduate program chair and senior lecturer, Stuart Gases is often the first point of contact with the students in the Department of Physics. As a colleague, he serves as a vital member of the department in the review and development of the curriculum. He is an exceptional instructor whose commitment to teaching is reflected in the enthusiastic comments of his students. The following comment from one of his students best summarizes his teaching style. Quote, Professor Gases is honestly one of the best professors I have had at this school, or ever for that matter. He's enthusiastic, hilarious, easy to understand, and obviously cares so much about his students. I cannot praise him enough, unquote. We are grateful for his dedication and thoughtful guidance within the Department of Physics undergraduate program. Dean Boyer, I have the honor to present Stuart Gases for the Llewellyn John and Harriet Manchester Quantrell Award for Excellence in Undergraduate Teaching.
Scholar of physics and inspiring teacher, Stuart Gases maintains excellence in teaching and continues to welcome students to the conversation of physics. Stuart Gases, on behalf of the University of Chicago, I now confer upon you the Llewellyn John and Harriet Manchester Quantrell Award for Excellence in Undergraduate Teaching.
Karin Noor Satina, Otto Borchert Distinguished Service Professor, Department of Sociology, Department of Anthropology, Committee on Conceptual and Historical Studies of Science, and the College, Chair, Department of Sociology, will present the next Quantrell Award.
Kimberly K. Hong is a global sociologist specializing in transnational markets and business relations, gender and sexualities, and qualitative methods. She teaches unexpected intersections of topics, as in her course States, Markets, and Bodies, and foundational topics, as in her course on the history of social theory. No wonder that students find her a bit intimidating at first, challenged by her fierce and unapologetic introductions and class expectations. But they also find her totally captivating. As one student wrote, within the first 4 sessions of her States, Markets, and Bodies class, I was sure I wanted to be a sociology major. We need more of those teachers. They also describe the passion she shares in class as unparalleled and almost otherworldly, in its ability to inspire students both through a deep intellect and a deep care for the educational growth of every single student in the room. Dean Boyer, I have the honor to present Kimberly Keong for the Llewellyn John and Harriet Manchester Quantrell Award for Excellence in Undergraduate Teaching.
Global sociologist of inter-Asian flows of capital and deal-making with the West, Kimberly Keong opens to students the world at large and real-life experience. Her courses inspire students to become sociologists and to learn to understand our global society. Kimberly Keong, on behalf of the University of Chicago, I now confer upon you the Llewellyn John and Harriet Manchester Quantrell Award for Excellence in Undergraduate.
Suzanne C. Levine, Rebecca Ann Boylan, Professor in Education and Society, Department of Psychology and the College, Chair, Department of Psychology, will present the next Quantrell Award.
Boaz Kezar, a cognitive psychologist who studies communication, negotiation, and decision-making, chairs the Cognition program in the Department of Psychology. Each year, students vie for seats in his Psychology of Negotiation and his Judgment and Decision-Making courses. Known as a master teacher, he weaves compelling examples together to illustrate the complex workings of the human mind. Students leave his classes understanding why biases and heuristics regularly affect our thinking, and why we often fail to communicate effectively. In groundbreaking research, he has shown that multilingualism enhances our ability to take the perspective of others and thus decreases miscommunication. Years after graduating, students regard his classes as their most memorable college experience, noting that they continue to be influenced by his teaching. Dean Boyer, I have the honor to present Boaz Kezar for the Llewellyn John and Harriet Manchester Quantrell Award for Excellence in Undergraduate Teaching.
Cognitive psychologist who elucidates how people communicate, negotiate, and make decisions, Boaz Kezar excites students about the workings of the human mind and helps them appreciate the reasons why we often miscommunicate and misunderstand situations. Boaz Kezar, on behalf of the University of Chicago, I now confer upon you the Llewellyn John and Harriet Manchester Quantrell Award for Excellence in Undergraduate Teaching.
Murray Sherman, Maurice Goblat, Professor, Department of Neurobiology, Committee on Neurobiology, Committee on Computational Neuroscience, Grossman Institute for Neuroscience, Quantitative Biology, and Human Behavior, and the College. Chair, Department of Neurobiology, will present the next Quantrell Award.
Peggy Mason is committed to spreading the word of neuroscience through teaching. She has taught medical students, won the Biological Sciences Division Distinguished Educator Mentor Award written an influential textbook, chaired the Graduate Committee on Neurobiology, and spearheaded the new undergraduate neuroscience major, for which she serves as the director. She delivers interesting material and encourages robust discussion. She proselytizes neuroscience via free online neuroscience courses, tweeting, and podcasting. As one of her students said, quote, Professor Mason's tireless dedication to creating a lively intellectual environment in her classroom, her devotion to students, and her endless drive to create, innovate, and unlock otherwise inaccessible academic opportunities for her students are the reasons she is extremely deserving of this award, end quote. Dean Boyer, I have the honor to present Peggy Mason for the Llewellyn John and Harriet Manchester Quantrell Award for Excellence in Undergraduate Teaching.
Teacher and communicator of all things neuroscience, Peggy Mason shows her extraordinary commitment to enabling the intellectual interests of her students in the classroom, in the laboratory, and in the world. Peggy Mason, on behalf of the University of Chicago, I now confer upon you the Llewellyn John and Harriet Manchester Quantrell Award for Excellence in Undergraduate Teaching.
Theo Vandenhout, author, and Joanne Rasmussen, Professor of Western Civilization, Oriel Institute, Department of Near Eastern Languages and Civilizations, and the college will present the final Quantrell Award.
Nadine Muller is an archaeologist of ancient Egypt. Taking along her students, she goes to Egypt every year to excavate. Once back in Chicago, she infuses her teaching with her latest field experiences and inspires her students with her most recent finds. She teaches anything from advanced technical archaeology to highly popular college courses. She's known not only for her strong passion and enthusiasm, wonderful lectures, and love for what she does, but also for how she truly cares about her students. Through class discussions, she fosters a collective curiosity about ancient civilizations and about especially ancient Egypt, a world that is at once strange and strangely familiar. Doing so, she creates an atmosphere in which other societies are seen as fascinating and as a source of genuine knowledge, and where scholarship is fun and fulfilling. Dean Boyer, I have the honor to present Nadine Muller for the Llewellyn John and Harriet Manchester Quantrell Award for Excellence in Undergraduate Teaching.
Through her passion and enthusiasm, and by bringing her fieldwork into the classroom, Nadine Muller, an archaeologist and scholar of ancient Egypt, instills in her students a true love of learning and scholarship. Nadine Muller, on behalf of the University of Chicago, I now confer upon you the Llewellyn John and Harriet Manchester Quantrell Award for Excellence in Undergraduate Teaching.
Good afternoon, friends, families, and my fellow graduating seniors. My name is Oluwaseyi Shea Omenijo, and I studied political science with a minor in human rights. My fellow fourth year, Asia Akta, and I are the founders of the Monumental Women Project at the University of Chicago. The Monumental Women Project was founded in an effort to honor women of the University of Chicago for their own accomplishments in the form of public art and monuments. In December 2017, we commissioned a bronze bust of Dr. Georgiana Rose Simpson, one of the first African-American women in the United States to earn a PhD, and a trailblazer in her effort to address race and women's issues throughout her life. The bronze bust of Dr. Georgiana Rose Simpson is the first public monument to honor an African-American woman for her own accomplishments in the city of Chicago. Throughout history, African American women and their accomplishments have been the footnotes in other people's stories. This is why I am so proud to honor Ms. Valerie Jarrett today. Similar to Dr. Simpson, Ms. Jarrett is a trailblazing African American woman who got her start in Chicago. She is indeed from a family of firsts and is no stranger to breaking barriers. Ms. Jarrett received her Bachelor's of Arts degree in psychology from Stanford University in 1978 and obtained her Juris Doctorate from the University of Michigan Law School in 1981. She served as Deputy Corporation Counsel for Harold Washington and Commissioner of Planning and Development for Mayor Richard Daley. Ms. Jarrett was also chair of the Chicago Transit Authority from 1995 to 2003 and chairman of the board for the Chicago Stock Exchange from 2004 to 2007. In 2009, Ms. Jarrett was appointed Senior Advisor to President Barack Obama, making her one of the most powerful African American women in White House history. She served as co-chair of the Obama-Biden transition team and then became the longest-serving senior advisor to President Barack Obama. She oversaw the White House offices of public engagement and intergovernmental affairs. She also chaired the White House Council on Women and Girls and co-chaired the White House Task Force to protect students from sexual assault. What a remarkable and monumental woman. Please help me in welcoming Ms. Valerie Jarrett.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Shay, for that wonderful introduction and for your work focusing on highlighting women. Good afternoon, everyone. I am delighted to be here, and I'm particularly delighted for you that the rain from this morning stopped. So my relationship with the University of Chicago goes back for longer than even I can remember. My mom received her master's from the University of Chicago in 1950, and she went on to be a pioneer in the field of early childhood education. She's still teaching at the age of 89, no pressure, and I'm delighted that she's here with me today. Hi, Mom. My dad joined the faculty of the Medical Center in 1961. My daughter and I both attended the lab school. We even had two of the same teachers. She got better grades than I did in both classes. My first summer job was being a clinical coordinator at the Medical Center, and I attended the University of Chicago undergraduate for summer school between my first and second year of college, trying to get a head start on my pre-med major, and I took inorganic chemistry in a building right over there, and I studied on the lawn right here. In fact, I studied endlessly. It did not end well. No doubt my poor grade contributed to the demise of my aspirations to be a doctor, but in full disclosure, so did the anatomy class that my boyfriend, who was in medical school, insisted that I go to. Those cadavers, well, they just freaked me out. Sorry to all the pre-med students who were here. But decades later, I had the honor of chairing the Medical Center Board and being the vice chair of the university board here. Much easier task for me than inorganic chemistry and dissecting bodies. Now, finally, I'm on the faculty of the law school, where I often talk to law students about my decision 27 years ago to stop practicing law. But in all seriousness, this extraordinary institution has contributed mightily to my life and to lives of those who I love the most, just as I am certain that it has for the graduates. No doubt your journeys have been challenging, so let me begin by being among the first to congratulate the class of 2008 on your accomplishments. You made it. How about a round of applause for the class? Of course, thank you also to Dean Boyer, the faculty, the staff, everyone who shepherded this tremendous class to where they are today. And an especially poignant thank you, of course, to the parents and families of graduates who sacrificed so mightily for them to achieve this greatness. How about you give your families a big round of applause as well? So to the class, so far, your journey may seem long, and you no doubt have already done remarkable things, but tomorrow begins the next chapter. Each of you graduates have a unique opportunity, and you're going to pursue your own hopes and dreams. You've been taught by world-class professors, and you will each use the skills you've developed in your own ways. And you're probably pretty eager to flex your muscles a little bit and show the world what you can do. And you should be eager because you've earned it. You may also be a little anxious that you aren't sure how best to use your incredible education. And that's okay, because notwithstanding a little bravado, your classmates are probably anxious with you. For all the remarkable diversity of your interests, from which your class has drawn great strength, you also have one thing in common: the extraordinary privilege of sharing this excellent education from one of the top universities in the world. And with that common bond comes certain responsibilities of privilege. And I would like an opportunity to talk to you about those responsibilities that I certainly did not fully appreciate when I was your age. First, it's important that you find your voice. So when I finished college, all I really had was a 10-year plan. Just how many of you have had 10-year plans or have 10-year plans? Show of hands. 5-year plan, any plan? All right. My 10-year plan went like this. I was going to go straight to law school because I couldn't think of anything else to do. I was going to return to Chicago, fall madly in love, have a child by the time I was 30, worrying about that biological clock, and be a partner in a law firm by 31, 32 at the latest, right? Sounds like a good plan? So I went right to law school. I married figuratively the boy next door. We'd grown up together. My mother grew up with his mother. Our fathers were friends. Our grandparents were friends. What could go wrong? Plenty. I had my daughter just shy of my 29th birthday. She was perfect and still is to this day. But by age 31, I was sitting in a gorgeous office in a skyscraper downtown Chicago, and I would stare out the window of those beautiful sailboats, and I would close my door and cry. I was just miserable. I thought I must be leading somebody else's life. This couldn't possibly be mine. And even though my parents were very proud of me, I was the first lawyer in our family, and everyone thought I had everything going for me, it was not my life. And so I took a leap of faith, and I joined local government. From my first day walking into my dingy little cubicle with a window facing an alley, I knew that I was where I belonged. So to save you all from the tears of that beautiful office, I encourage you to listen to your quiet voice inside of you. Don't waste your talents doing something that's not satisfying to you. If I hadn't taken that leap of faith, I don't think I would be standing in front of you today. After you find your voice, your privilege gives you the responsibility to challenge the status quo. Do it by lifting up your powerful voices, either alone or in unison with others. Building a strong and fair democracy is not a spectator sport. It depends on civic participation. You have to get involved, and the good news is that there are lots of ways to do so. Perhaps for you, it means activism, putting pressure from the outside. A recent survey showed that 1 in 5 Americans have joined protest rallies within the last year, and I'm sure a number of those of you who are here today are among the ones who have. There has been an outpouring of activism that has already led to positive change, and that is a reminder that our voices are important and a reflection of the power that we hold. We've seen its effect even with leaders who were disinclined to listen, and it has shown that everyone, citizen and non-citizen in this country, have a right to participate in civic engagement. Examples which are in the headlines, of course, are those amazing young students from Parkland. Aren't they the most incredible things? I really am so proud of them. Out of tragedy, they've galvanized millions around the country to participate in March of Our Lives. They have put pressure on states where governors have A readings from the NRA, such as Florida and Vermont, to pass legislation helping to keep guns out of the wrong hands. And big stores, retailers such as Dick's Sporting Goods, has changed their policies on assault weapons, and their market value has gone up. Movements such as Me Too and Time's Up, sexual assault and discrimination in the workplace are both ubiquitous and unacceptable. Yet they have been tolerated for far too long. Now, brave survivors who have found the courage to speak up and are using their voices to tell gut-wrenching stories, not just to seek justice for themselves, but to hope to spare others their pain. And everyone is now listening and being forced to respond. Thankfully, their sacrifices have mobilized Me Too and Time's Up, and many others are adding their voices, enabling far too many painful moments to turn into an inspirational movement. The LGBTQ community has made enormous strides over the last decade. Often we forget that when President Obama took office in 2009, same-sex marriage was legal in 2 states, just 2 states. By the time the Supreme Court ruled that to be the law of the land, that number had increased to 37 plus the District of Columbia. When President Obama spoke on that landmark day, he said, and I quote, "Progress on this journey towards equality often comes in small increments, sometimes 2 steps forwards and 1 step back, propelled by the persistent effort of dedicated citizens. And then sometimes there are days like today when this slow and steady effort is rewarded with justice that arrives like a thunderbolt." From civil rights to voting rights to women's rights, our history of our country is full of countless examples of where activism, to paraphrase Martin Luther King Jr., bends the long arc of the moral universe towards justice. And they all took a sustained effort of individuals and collective voices lifted up over time. In fact, there was nearly 50 years between the original petition for suffrage and the time women were granted the right to vote. Many who signed that first petition didn't live to see success. Our responsibility is simply to do the very best on our watch. Institutions are coming under a great deal of fire lately, from government to business to the media. Even higher education is under attack. And we cannot afford to shun those institutions. Do not turn your back on the ones that you find lacking. Your privilege gives you the power to improve them in a range of ways, and I implore you to do so, because each of these institutions is vital to the fabric of society, because they strengthen our democracy. You do not need to forget your ability to hold them accountable. Yes, you must do that, but please don't abandon them. Make them better. Let's take government, for example. Our government is only as good as the citizens demand that it be. So your most basic responsibility is to vote. In 2016, only 43% of eligible voters voted. Regardless of the outcome of the election, that should be unacceptable to us all. Voting matters. Your voices will not be represented in the democracy unless you vote. Yes, there may be some who are trying to disenfranchise you. For example, Texas allows does not allow students to vote with their student ID, but it does allow you to vote if you have your license to carry a gun. But you can't let those attempts to disenfranchise you get in the way. Do not disenfranchise yourself. Not only would that cede your power to those who do not show up, it would abandon your responsibility to use the most fundamental responsibility of citizenship, voting. But voting isn't enough. Your government that is truly by the people, for the people, has to require you to engage with your elected officials. If you don't, you give them license to make decisions based on narrow, self-serving priorities of special interest groups that spend a lot of money lobbying. Yes, it upsets me too. I'm so glad to hear someone upset about that. They know the value of their voices, those who are lobbying, and they're thrilled when you underutilize yours and cede your power to them. There are many ways to lead. If you're passionate about government, if you vote and hold your representatives accountable, but you still know that there's more you can do, well, how about running for office yourself? Anybody in this office, in this great vast area, interested in running for office? Show of hands. Oh, come on. You must run for office. I knew, maybe some behind me. Okay, good. Thank you. I'm so glad to see that. There are 500 women running for Congress in this election cycle. 500. Yes. Including, I hasten to add, the first Native American woman who just won her primary earlier this week. I've spent a lot of time working with members of Congress, and I can certainly assure you that decisions would be made better if women had equal representation in that body. Volunteer on campaigns, work in the public sector, state, local, federal government, it doesn't matter. At some point during your career, I recommend you give it a try. Our democracy works best when a diversity of voices are heard in the halls of power, and that includes all of yours. Affiliate yourself with institutions where the leaders share your values. Your reputation going forward will be inextricably linked to those with whom you work. Not everyone has the opportunity to be selective, but those who are graduating here tomorrow have that privilege. Do your due diligence. Enough said. It's a business imperative today in a global marketplace to have a diverse workforce. From the boardroom to the entry-level floor, many of you will be leading in business sooner than you think, and it's important for you to lead by example and be good corporate citizens in addition, because that's a part of your responsibility to society. So when you're the CEO of BlackRock who decides to send a letter to his fellow CEO encouraging companies to have a social purpose and long-range strategies, or the chairman of Starbucks that takes on implicit bias by shutting every Starbucks for an afternoon of training, or the CEO of Salesforce who publicly admits that he discovered a pay gap between men and women, and he closes that gap 3 consecutive times when it popped up again. These are leadership positions in both the private and public sector that you are going to hold in a blink of an eye, and you have to use your voices to stand up for core values. You must commit to do this not only when there is a chorus with you and it is easy, but when you're the first to speak up and it is hard. Figure out ways to be a force for good in society, not just for yourself. In July of 2013, I accompanied the Obama family on a tour of Robben Island prison, where Nelson Mandela lived for 18 of the 26 years that he was incarcerated in South Africa. I remember us all standing in a tiny cell where this great man had lived for so long, trying to imagine how he survived day after day after day. How did he keep his cruel incarceration from breaking his spirit? Channel all of that personal disappointment, physical and emotional pain and anger. What did he do with it? And how did he rise up to be an inspirational leader that unified and transformed one of the most divided countries on earth? I attended his funeral a few months later that drew numerous world leaders and people from every walks of life, including presidents from both parties in the United States, former presidents. And next month, I plan to return to South Africa when President Obama delivers a lecture commemorating the 100th anniversary of President Mandela. My favorite of many quotes from Mandela, which I will paraphrase, was this: "No one is born hating one another because of the color of their skin or his background or religion. People must learn to hate, and if they learn to hate, they can be taught to love. For love comes more naturally than hate." Love comes more naturally than hate. My hope is that you will be willing to come out of your comfort zone, be intellectually and socially curious. Listen, open up honestly and civilly to those with whom you disagree. Get to know and understand and trust people who are different from you. Different in race, gender, religion, background, sexual orientation or gender identity, and yes, even political party. Our nation is at its best when we embrace our rich diversity and view it as a strength. The ability to do so will enable you to tackle much of the unfinished business that lies ahead to perfect our union. Otherwise, I fear we will continue to drift away from what is unfamiliar and different or other. 4, we increasingly spend our waking hours watching only news sources that tell us what we want to hear, or on social media engaging with those with whom we agree, or using its convenient buffer of anonymity to lash out at those with whom we disagree. But do we even actually disagree? Have we tried to listen, be empathetic by putting ourselves in the shoes of one another? All too often, I fear the answer is no. So this amplifies the distance between us. In fact, social media is too often weaponized as an impersonal instrument of hurt, not only in grand and public ways, but often in seemingly mundane, but no less damaging. You all grew up with these transformational devices, and as a parent, I know I can't get you to put them down. But please use them creatively and wisely, and yes, kindly. Make them a powerful force to bring us together, to rally relief in the aftermath of natural or man-made disasters that have faded from the public eye, to share stories of what is good and what is just, to which we should all aspire. I believe the tone starts at the top. Because of your privilege, you have the ability to rapidly climb through the top of any career that you choose. I ask you to commit to make our institutions and our culture live up to our highest ideals. Insist that civility and decency matter. Bring us to a place where we all recognize our country's rich diversity as a strength and not a threat. Where we are truly our brother's keeper and our sister's keeper. Where we do not fear or discriminate against each other simply because of the color of our skin or our gender or any other way which we seem different. In closing, you graduates are coming of age at an extraordinary moment in our nation's history. And even with all of our challenges, I believe there is no better time to be alive. And I'm optimistic because your journey is just beginning. May you be open to take paths with many exciting twists and turns, with chapters not yet imagined in your wildest dreams. And as I hope you discover, as I did, that all your opportunities come with responsibilities, both profound and mundane, and I hope you will embrace them as well. You've already made your parents proud, right, parents and family? Round of applause for our graduates. But I want you to challenge yourself to make your younger siblings proud, your children proud, and the teams that you create, both at work and in play, proud of you as well. Let them guide you towards your North Star. Find ways to enable those that are less fortunate to live better lives. Help create institutions that are worthy of those that they were created to serve. And open your heart so that you're able to fully embrace the joy and the happiness of life and be present, truly present, in the lives of those you love and who love you. Use your gifts to continue to learn rigorously each day. It does not end with graduation, and not just about facts, although they are important, but also about people. And in the words of Bobby Kennedy, who died 50 years ago this week, create small actions that create ripples of hope. You are our ripples of hope. The change we all so desperately need is in your hands. And yes, you stand on the shoulders of many, including your family, who have no doubt sacrificed mightily in order for you to be where you are today. But lead your life motivated by the responsibilities of knowing that the diploma that you receive tomorrow, if used well, will enable the next generation to stand proudly on your shoulders. I'm rooting for you, class of 2018, but more importantly, your country is counting on you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Jarrett, for your insights and words of inspiration for our talented and energized class of 2018. Your background in private and public sectors is an example to our class of the types of contributions we can make in our careers and our lifetimes. My name is Monica Keefe, and I studied biology and molecular engineering. I would like to reintroduce my classmate, Shuba, who will be performing her rendition of Unwritten by Natasha Bedingfield.
Shuba. And as I'm singing the song, I just want to give a shout out to Dirt Red Brass Band. They were playing at the first session earlier. Round of applause for them. And I also want to say a lot of the speeches we heard were about finding yourself while you're in college, and an important part of that is surrounding yourself with the right people. And I wouldn't be who I am today without these people. We have Gil Bao on keys and saxophone, Jake on guitar, electric guitar, Xander on drums, and Matt on bass guitar. I just met Matt a couple days ago, but he seems really cool, so thank you, Matt. All right, here we go. I am unwritten, can't read my mind, I'm undefined. I'm just beginning, the pen's in my hand, ending unplanned. Staring at the blank page before you, open up the dirty window, let the sun illuminate the words that you could not find. Reaching for something in the distance, so close you can almost taste it. Release your inhibitions, feel the rain on your skin. No one else can feel it for you, only you can let it in. No one else can speak the words on your lips. Drench yourself with words unspoken, living your life with arms wide open. Today is where your book begins, the rest is still unwritten. Hey, I break tradition. Sometimes my tries are outside the lines. Oh yeah, we've been conditioned to not make mistakes, but I can't live that way, no, no. Staring at the blank page before you, open up the dirty window, let the sun illuminate the words that you could not find. Reaching for something in the distance, so close you can almost taste it. Release your inhibitions, feel the rain on your lips. No one else can feel it for you, only you can let it in. No one else can speak the words on your lips. Drench yourself in words unspoken, living your life with arms wide open. Today is where your book begins, the rest is still unwritten. Hey, staring at the blank page before you, open up the dirty window, let the sun illuminate the words that you could not find. Reaching for something in the distance, so close you can almost taste it. Release your inhibitions, feel the rain on your skin. No one else can feel it for you, only you can let it in. No one else can speak the words on your lips. Drench yourself in words unspoken, living your life with arms wide open. Today is where your book begins, the rest is still unwritten. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Laura Brawley, and it is my honor to introduce this year's recipients of the 60th Howell Murray Alumni Association Award. As one of the most prestigious undergraduate awards given by the university, the Howell Murray Alumni Association Award recognizes the outstanding and unique contribution of graduating seniors to co-curricular activities on campus. The students from the class of 2018 selected for this honor have actively helped better our campus community through their continued and transformative efforts to promote and improve a wide range of different campus groups and organizations. This year's awards will be presented by the President of the Alumni Board, Jeffrey Lee Schreiber, AB 79, MBA 86. Please welcome to the stage Mr. Schreiber.
Hello, and I'd like to welcome all the parents, family, friends, and faculty that are here to honor the class of 2018. And to the class of 2018, I'd like to say welcome to your first full-fledged membership in the Alumni Association. The Alumni Association provides opportunities for programming, for a voice for alumni, and most importantly, in my opinion, awarding alumni and students with these awards. It's really one of the honors that we go through every year. I've had the pleasure in the past of presenting the Howell Murray Awards, so it's a distinct pleasure to be here again to present them today. These are among the most engaged students on the campus, as Howell Murray himself was. Howell Murray was, in the early part of the 20th century, a student on campus. He was a member and leader in many student organizations, went on to a successful career, and also a successful career of being engaged with the university as a trustee of the university in the 1950s. When he passed away, his colleagues and classmates created this award in his honor. Today we're honoring 16 students who have been exemplars of co-curricular activity and engagement on campus. These students have also been recognized at the Student Awards in May, and last week at our overall Alumni Awards ceremony during Alumni Weekend. I'm going to call their names and they'll come up and receive their medals. Asiya Akcha. Jeremy Chang. Calvin Cottrell. Matthew Foldy. Chase Harrison. Veronica Lubovsky. Zoe McCool. Kelsey Moore. Jocelyn Munoz. Dario Nunez. Shay Omanio. Stacy Ryman. Vivek Sarma. Kyle Wickham. And once again, a big round of applause for all the winners.
Good afternoon. My name is Catherine Vega, and I'm a public policy and political science major originally from Booth House and a fourth-year member of the Maroon Key Society. Thank you all for attending our second annual class day. It is a privilege to be here with all of you who have overcome unique challenges and put in so much hard work to make it to this point in the UChicago experience. We'd like to give one more round of applause to all of today's award recipients of the Steigen Dudley, Quantrell, and Howell Murray Awards. We would also like to thank our speaker, Valerie Jarrett, for celebrating the class of 2018 with us today and commend all of our student speakers and performers. And finally, a big thank you to the administrators who made this day possible: Nicole Fazio, Brian Donahue, Dean Jay Ellison, and Dean John Boyer.
My name is Lillian Wangler. I studied environmental and urban studies. I'm a fourth-year member of the Maroon Key Society, and I was originally in Chamberlain House. I have just a few brief remarks before you're all free to enjoy your time with friends and family. First, I'd like to remind all of our guests to join us for the senior class celebration at the Museum of Science and Industry at 7:30 tonight. Second, we would like to acknowledge the graduates who will be performing the closing carillon concert as newly minted carillonneurs. For the next hour, you will hear them playing from Rockefeller Tower. They are Joshua Kaufman, Elsa Munt, Michael Sloyan, Shu Zhang, Thalia Stokes, and John Tinkin. Next, let's offer congratulations to the class of 2018. Thank you to all of the attendees who have supported our graduates during their time at UChicago. Finally, if you are here today as a parent, guardian, or other source of support for a graduate, please stand to be recognized. We look forward to seeing you all tonight at the museum and tomorrow at the convocation and diploma ceremonies.